And I want to thank you for holding an excellent hearing. This is a great panel and timely, I think, because of the budget that's been submitted. So I really appreciate it. Dr. Jacobs-Young, for 110 years, the Central Great Plains Research Station in Akron, Colorado, has been working with local groups like the Colorado wheat growers to research crop varieties that grow best in local conditions. That's a very big challenge, as you know, in my state. They also focus on new management techniques to conserve water and soil resources, helping the environment and improving the bottom line for farm businesses generation after generation for more than a century. Despite this, the President's fiscal year 18 budget proposes closing this station and 16 other similar research stations across the country. I wonder if you could tell the panel a little bit about the role these research field stations play and how they work to provide useful information to local growers and producers.
Thank you so much for your question, Senator. As Dr. Bartuska shared, and the chairman as well, we have a huge goal ahead of us of feeding 9.7 billion people by 2050. And ARS is right at the center of helping us achieve that goal. We were faced with the task of having to find $161 million in reductions for ARS. And through that process,
Who gave you that task?
it's a part of our president's budget proposal.
Mm-hmm.
ARS has a reduction of $161 million.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can imagine, over the past years, because budgets have not grown tremendously, we've done a big job of trying to look across our portfolio using data to streamline, consolidate. So we're at the point where every decision we make today is a tough one. There's everything that we give up today it's important, but we have to make we had to make the decision to make these reductions, and we use three criteria for how we went about doing this. The first one, we looked at our employees. ARS is who it is because of our people. How do we minimize the impact to our ARS scientific workforce? And therefore, we looked at extramural funding. The second one is that we looked at those things that preserve ARS's infrastructure, our germplasm collections, our LTAR network, our critical databases, et cetera, et cetera. And so we looked at those things and said that we needed to protect those because they're uniquely what ARS provides to the scientific community. And the third one was we had to balance the portfolio and using data to determine the capacities of all of our research projects in our locations. And so when we took a look across the portfolio, we looked at those locations and projects that might be challenged from a resource perspective: human capital, infrastructure, IT, and dollars. And so we used a data-driven process to look at everything to make those decisions. And so, unfortunately, Akron is on the list for proposed cuts in FY18.
Well,
but I will assure you it was a data-driven process, and it wasn't an easy one.
Well, it's not. I can tell you that it's not going to be acceptable to me, and I don't think to the United States Senate, to cut it because there is no replacement for it. And frankly, I hope I speak for other members of the committee when I say that because of the leadership of the chairman and the ranking member in the last Farm Bill, this is the only committee that actually created deficit reduction. This committee did. And the people that we represent in farm country in the United States stepped up to the plate when no other committee in the Congress did that. No other committee did that. And for them to be presented with a 30% cut to the Department of Agriculture is an insult. It's worse than an insult. It's a war on rural America, I think, and rural Colorado. And there isn't a replacement for the Akron Research Station. There isn't anybody else who's going to help our wheat farmers do what they need to do, our wheat growers do what they need to do year after year because of changes in the climate and changes in the environment. So I can appreciate that you made, quote, a data-driven decision. I think it's a terrible decision for the people that I represent in my state. And I think in the context of this committee doing its work in a way that, because of your leadership, Mr. Chairman and Senator Stabenow from Michigan, it's entirely unacceptable to me that they're trying, and they don't even balance the budget. So they have an unbalanced budget that they're trying to balance on the backs of our farmers and our ranchers, and it's absolutely unacceptable to me. because of the work that we've already done and the sacrifices that have already been made in an environment with commodity prices where they are. It adds insult to injury and is utterly unacceptable. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.